really grinds my gears.
What the hell is wrong with you?
What the hell is wrong with you people? Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of Ryno's Rants. And during the season, a lot of times we're going to find out why it's called Ryno's Rants. We're going to use this as kind of a pseudo vent line tonight. So anything you guys want to bring up from the game yesterday, I got a few line items I want to hit, but anything you guys want to bring up, you want to talk about, good, bad, or otherwise, let's hit it here. Start off. Good evening, Nick, Davey, Doc, Ray, Dave again, Reggie, all you guys. Welcome to the show tonight, and plenty to rant on tonight. Absolutely, Reggie. Ask KOC's wife for his balls back. That's one of the line items I'm going to get at, more or less. But we will hit on that part of it later. First thing I want to hit on, I guess, is something that we have talked about, we called it out for the last how many goddamn years. But the offensive line, more specifically the interior of the offensive line, again yesterday was the source of most of the problems on offense. Of course, right off the get-go, Garrett Bradbury gets hurt and goes out again. One of those concerns that I brought up when the Vikings actually re-signed him, is that lower back going to be a chronic issue, or was it going to be better? As we've seen in many cases, lower backs do not get better, and Bradbury's back injury reared its ugly head again yesterday. So he is going to be sitting there day to day, according to Kevin O'Connell. But like I said, as we all know, backs usually don't get better, so that's something he's going to have to be dealing with all season long. Hopefully he's able to continue to play, but yeah, and why the hell are you running up the middle on Vita Vea? Yeah, that was a question I started asking myself all day long. How the ever-loving fuck is Ingram still on this team today? I'm not calling for Ingram to be cut yet. I think Ingram should be benched. Reggie, just like Sullivan. Yeah, that was exactly my thought when I saw this again. But with Ed Ingram, if I was running this show, I would have had Dalton Reisner in at Egan today, getting a contract figured out and getting him on this team, because how in the hell does your guard strip sack your quarterback? How the hell does that happen? Last year he was stepping on Cousins' foot every other goddamn game, and now yesterday he freaking strip sacks. Hey, Sarah, good evening. Welcome to the show. Sean, good evening. Don't know how to feel about this. I know exactly how to feel about this. I'm freaking pissed at this game yesterday. As well as the defense played for the most part, and even with the way the offense started out, we should have won that game by at least 2 scores. We should have been up like 24-3 at the end of the first half instead of being tied 10-10. The offense up and down, back and forth, but they were running pressure up the middle. The deal with Ed Ingram, of course, like I said, knocking this thing out. That one free blitz that came through where Kirk fumbled the ball. That was the other thing. When you're -3 in turnover differential, you're not going to win very many games. Of course, we talked about Ingram. We talked about that blitz where Antoine Winfield Jr. Came on around the outside, basically a free rush, and hit Kirk and knocked the ball loose. And also recovered it. And thank you, Rick Spielman, because for everybody who was calling for the Vikings to draft Antoine Winfield Jr., you thought it was a better idea to draft Jeff Gladney, rest in peace. But I wanted that kid on our team when the draft came through. I know a lot of you guys did too. And yesterday he showed why we made a terrible mistake not drafting him. But since we're talking Kirk and this team's definition of football follies, feel like we got to make a move at Sarah. You're livid. We all should be livid after that game. Reggie, got to make a move at offensive line after the Philly game. I'd make it now. Get him in. Get Risner in here, right, and get him learning the playbook. I mean, granted, you got a little bit of a mini bye there after Thursday. He wouldn't play on Thursday, so I guess maybe it's not. Kind of a thing. Sarah brings up a good point here. I want to, when I first saw that throw, I put it on Kirk because he did throw it behind KJ. But going back, I watched the replay of that throw in slow motion. KJ Osborne had it caught. He had it in here, and the defender ripped it out of his hands. That's on Osborne. Could Kirk have put it in a better place? Yes, he absolutely could have. Could have put it out in front of him a little bit more. Probably shouldn't have thrown it at KJ Osborne in double coverage to begin with, especially when I believe Justin Jefferson had single coverage in the corner of the end zone. So, I mean, it was a play a pass that probably shouldn't have been thrown, but Osborne should have caught the damn thing. He should have brought it in. He had it in, and he got it stolen from him. It's plain and simple. Feel like we're never going to make the Super Bowl. Hard seeing your team every year. So sick of losing. We're all there. Every damn one of us is so sick of seeing this and not making the Super Bowl. Now, all this being said, before we get any further into all this, I'm not going to go too overboard losing my mind over one game. Yes, it was a game that we should have won, a game that we kind of needed to win after Detroit won on Thursday, and the fact that we've got Philadelphia coming up. I mean, all of us, worthless opinion, good evening. All of us had this Tampa Bay game written down as a win for the Vikings. So now that we lost a game that we were supposed to win, now we're going to have to go and take one of those games that we weren't supposed to win, or that we aren't being predicted to win, to even things out again. Throw it up to JJ. When all else fails, you throw it to Jefferson. I mean, Jefferson had 138 yards in the first half. And then all of a sudden, he only had 15 in the second half. Why the hell quit throwing it at Jefferson when you have 138 yards in the first half of the damn game and he had 15 yards the second half? Justin Jefferson they can't take him out of the game like that. We did that. Tampa Bay did not take Jefferson out of the game. We did. At least we aren't the Giants right now. Oh, that was pathetic. Like I turned that game off last night. It was so bad. I bet they're feeling really good now about paying $40 million a year to Danny Dimes there. Again, old Danny Dimes has to be thanking Ed Donatel for that contract because he sure as hell didn't earn it otherwise. Wish we had that Jefferson kid on our team. Heard he's really good. Yeah, I've heard that too. Of course, now everybody's losing their mind that he's not going to re-sign here because they didn't get a contract done by Saturday. It's going to get done. I'm not worried about it. So the contract, we still got him under control for 2 years before we absolutely have to worry about it. Anyway. Kirk and the O-line took Jefferson out of the game. I think that's a lot of it, Dan. I think with Kirk getting as much pressure as he was getting. Now, to the credit, the tackles did well. I think O'Neal gave up one pressure, but other than that, even Oli Udoh, when he was in there for those few plays when Darisaw went out for a little bit, he didn't give up any pressures, I don't believe. But I think when Kirk starts seeing that pressure, he starts getting scared back there. And then you notice that in the second half, he was going to all these check downs, to the goddamn tight end screen again. If I see another tight end screen coming out of this team, I am going to lose my shit completely because those never work. Every time we threw it yesterday, we lost 3 or 4 yards. What is the Jefferson issue? What happened? They just didn't come to an agreement on the contract extension. That they had put a deadline of Saturday to get it done, and after that, when it didn't happen, they're just going to put it off until next off season. So it's nothing to worry about. It's just semantics. Udoh looked good. Yeah, he actually did. He looked pretty good in that limited time when he was in there for Darisaw. Kirk checked out of that game after the interception. I don't know if checked out is the right term, but I think he started getting jittery back there. And, we all know that Kirk lets those interceptions bother him way more than they should. And I think that got in his head, and it screwed with him the rest of the game. Couldn't figure out how to mitigate the blitz. That was the biggest thing. We were taking 5-step drops, and Kirk is standing in that pocket too long. We needed to get those quick hits, hitting Addison, hitting Jefferson. I mean, every time you threw at Justin Jefferson, he was open in the first half. Got to just keep throwing it to him. And the offensive line sucks booty cheeks. They need to give Cousins room. Yeah, they do. But in the meantime, if we don't have guys that can do that, Kirk has got to get that ball out fast. Look at what Baker Mayfield did. First half, our defense was pushing him all over the place. And that's, it was one of the things Lance and I and Reggie talked about on Friday about needing to get Baker uncomfortable and get him off. And he had I think, 30 yards passing in the first half or something like that. It was the entire defense only gave up like 70 yards, I think it was, in the first half. It wasn't much. But to Tampa's credit, at halftime, they went in, they made adjustments, and they quit doing those 5- and 7-step drops, and it was 3-step drops and out. He was getting the ball out before the pressure was getting there, and then they became successful with it. But we didn't adjust. Either way, screw the tight end screen unless you can execute it. We can never execute it. Missing sacks. There was a couple of those that we should have had sacked. That one of them was Benton Whitley went too high and Mayfield ducked underneath him. That should have been a sack. And then there was another one where Baker was wrapped up going down. I know, and he just kind of shoveled out of there. I mean, that was a good play by Mayfield, but Cleveland, Bradbury, and Ingram are the problem, not our tackles. Refer the whole unit. Yep. Interior offensive line is, I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago when Lance and I were talking about this on the Friday show. That interior offensive line is going to be what dooms this team this year, and it's shown it again. Get at least one draft pick back since our defense fleeced the Giants. Yeah. We'll have a much better plan Thursday, but it's got to play well, be a tough game. That's the problem. I mean, look at last year. I mean, we went into Philly on a Monday night last year and got absolutely curb stomped. I'm concerned again today, or that's going to happen again. Now, maybe on a short week, getting embarrassed like we did yesterday, maybe they'll come out and take Philly down. I mean, Philly almost lost yesterday. I forget who it was they were playing, but it was in question down to the very end. Had to play outstanding on Thursday to get a win. Not impossible, but kind of improbable. Doc, I agree with that. Thursday last year too. I thought it was a Monday night. It was Monday night, wasn't it, last year, Reggie? It had to have been Monday because because Troy Aikman sat there and called out Donatel for the entire freaking game about the 3 high shell coverage. So worried for Thursday. Yeah, so am I. Thank you, NFL. May I have another? Patriots was on Thursday night, Reggie. Yeah, you're right. But looking at some of the other stuff, O'Connell and his offensive play calling, going back to the comment earlier about Kevin O'Connell needing to get his accessories back out of his wife's purse. I don't know what goes on with Kevin O'Connell. He starts getting in there, and we have something that's working, and then he goes and moves on to something else, tries to get cute and we're going with those short passes that dink and dunk garbage that wasn't working. Justin Jefferson was open all the time. And even when Justin Jefferson is covered, he is open. This is just getting to be the point like it was with Randy Moss all the time. Just chuck it up there and Jefferson's probably going to go get it. Here we go. Blackman impressed me. Thought we were going to get burned by that throw to Evans, but Blackman came up big. I agree, Sarah. Mekhi Blackman showed out very well. I thought Caleb Evans played pretty well too, as far as, he was matched up against Mike Evans quite often. And, Evans has 6 inches on him at least. And, I thought the back end of our defense for the most part played pretty well. There was a couple of misses there. I know Harrison Smith was kind of out of position on one, which was kind of surprising. Metellus got burned on that one touchdown. He was kind of out of position. But we knew that there was going to be some of those give-ups on this defense. But I thought, for the most part, the defense came out, and the defense played well enough for us to win that game. The defense was not the reason that we lost that game. It was the offense, and it was the turnovers, and it was those untimely penalties. Prime example, that one, Jay Ward lines up in the neutral zone on that field goal, took the 3 points off the board, gave him the first down. They went and got a touchdown. 4-point swing. We lost by 3. That more or less was the ball game there. Now, granted, if they had done that, there would have had to have been, they wouldn't have been kicking field goal later on. They'd have been going for it. But, 4 points, that could have very well decided the game. About to watch the Bills and Jets. Who you got? I'm going to go Buffalo. I think the hype for the Jets is way too out of control. We all know who Aaron Rodgers is. We've seen it for 20 years or 15 years, however damn long he's been in the league over here. Offense did not get burnt, or defense did not get burned in big plays like last year. Exactly. Like I said, the pressure was working up until, then they started getting with that 3-step drop, and there's really not much you can do there. That defensive line, our defensive line is still not that formidable, I guess. Harrison Phillips had a couple of nice plays in a row there at one point in time. Dean Lowry, I think he was the one that had that face mask, wasn't it? That got him out to midfield on that last drive. Lowry was there, but I didn't think he impressed all that much. Danielle Hunter had a sack. Ivan Pace, I thought, looked pretty good in the time he played. I mean, he played a significant amount of snaps out there. Like the attitude Flores brings to the defense, they're attacking that way to get punched in the mouth 10 yards back. Exactly. And that was what I was looking for when we brought Flores in, because it's a complete 180 off of what Donatel did. I think we're going to lose to Eagles. Just got to pray we don't get our head stomped in. I don't have a good feeling about that game either. On the short week going out there, I mean, a short week can be a good thing if you have bad crap happen to you the week before. Like Reggie mentioned earlier, that game against the Patriots, we got curb stomped by Dallas and then went out and beat the Patriots the next week. We can beat Philly. It's going to be tough, but it's possible. And we've got all 4 teams that were in the conference championship games last year, and we got to go 2-2 against those guys at minimum. If we can do better than that, awesome. Cincinnati looked terrible yesterday. Joe Burrow must have been hungover after signing that gigantic contract that he signed, but last year's defense would have made Baker look like Josh Allen, if not Patrick Mahomes. Bucks O-line is garbage. Yeah, they got some decent players on there, but they're young. And we were getting pressure on Baker early. It's just when they started moving to that up-tempo, quick hitters and getting them out of there, we really couldn't keep up with it. The running game, I kind of brought that up before. Unacceptable. I think we only rushed for like 48 yards or something like that. Or wasn't a lot. But there again, half the time when we were trying to run, we're running up the middle against Vita Vea, and you cannot do that. We needed to get them outside the tackles more, get out there in open space, make some plays. Bill's not looking good so far, already at 3 and out. Yeah, it's early though, so I'm not, we'll see what happens with that, but yeah, I'm starting to have a little bit of 41 yards, 17 carries. Thanks, Reg. Not going to be able to power run this week either. No, that defensive line Philadelphia has is legit. Their entire defense is legit. Kirk had 8 of those rushing yards. Yeah, that he took off that one time. There was a couple other times I thought maybe he should have taken off too, instead of doing that pussyfoot and dump off pass for negative yardage or 0 yards or whatever. I think I don't know what they thought that they were doing with so much throwing to. I think CJ Ham had more targets yesterday than he did in half of the season last year. So I don't know. I don't understand the play calling yesterday. The play calling yesterday is probably my biggest point of contention, because it was when we tried to go deep and when we started stretching the field, it worked damn near every freaking time. But we quit doing it, whether that was O'Connell, whether that was Cousins, because he was getting scared back there because of the offensive line letting the rushers through. Maybe it was a combination of the stuff. I don't know. I have to have a perfect game to beat Philly. It's going to have to be damn close to that. Sean, this is a good team. Team can win this. Could be a Super Bowl team, but they can't cause they just don't have the right O-line and honestly not the right quarterback. I mean, if Kirk can stay out of his own head, he's got all the talent in the world. He's not overly mobile. He's more mobile than we give him credit for. But he's got all the physical tools to be a great quarterback. But, kind of to Sarah's point earlier, when Kirk gets into his own head after that interception and he let it sit there and eat at him, and I was sitting there watching a game with a buddy of mine, and we made that comment more than once. They'd pan over to the sidelines, and Kirk is sitting over on the bench moping, or had his head hung down, just kind of sitting there like this, and it's like, get the hell up, Kirk. Go out there, fire up, go back and forth on the field, be out there cheering. Show your team that you're supposed to be the leader that we all assume that you are and that you need to be on this team. Don't sit over there and fucking mope. Don't let those interceptions just ruin the rest of your freaking day, which it did. I mean, Kirk had thrown for 300 yards in the first half, and again, the second half, nothing. Ham had more passes thrown to him than JJ did in the second half. I think you're right on that, Sarah. I'd have to look at the numbers, but I don't get it. KOC pissed me off yesterday. All the others need to rip breaks off. Sarah's got the comment of the evening here so far. Kirk needs to cash in all that Coles cash for some swagger. Absolutely. Put the Kirko chains on underneath your jersey and go out there. Do something. Needs that special Gatorade he had when we beat the Bills. Got to do something. I mean, it's whining stuff is getting old. Absolutely it is. Mental tools are more important than physical tools. I wouldn't say they're more important, but they're every bit as important. You see how many times have you seen some of these guys with all the talent in the world and then they have no talent between the ears? To Kirk's credit, Kirk's not stupid. Kirk is a very smart individual, but the problem is he overthinks stuff too much, and that's part of the problem where he's getting pressured and hit all the time too. Is that he's sitting back there overanalyzing stuff and holding the ball too long. We got to get him out of it, just like they did with Mayfield. Get him out there, get him not thinking. 3-step drop, boom, fire it out. And I think that would work. Especially when you can't hold blocks for 5 seconds. You can't be taking 5 and 7-step drops and standing back there, patting the ball, looking around. Worthless opinion. Wonder who forgot to hit the like button. That's a very good question. If you have not done so, hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button also if you have not done so. Helps us out a ton. Rather have the dog than a smart guy under center. As long as he's got, able to make the plays and do the stuff. Yeah, I mean, you got to have a combination of everything. You can't have a complete and total idiot. You can't have some egghead that sits there and does just statistical analysis in every snap. Only thing stopping Kirk from being elite is Kirk. Absolutely, I agree with that 110%. Been saying that for years. Throw the wide receivers open. Absolutely. And again, he's got to quit looking at Justin Jefferson with one guy on him and thinking he's covered. He's not. Justin Jefferson is not covered when he's got one guy on him, and a lot of times he's not covered when he's got two guys on him. And, Kirk looks at that and he's like, oh, if I throw this, I might throw an interception. I would take my chances throwing it to Justin Jefferson 10 times out of 10 versus throwing a ball behind KJ Osborne in double coverage. Addison's going to be a great wide receiver, best play of the game, and the plop. That was a nice touchdown, and he was wide open on it. He burnt too, and they never threw deep to Addison, and maybe one more time after that. Tom Brady and Joe Montana weren't real physically gifted. No, I mean, that's true. I mean, Tom Brady was not the most athletic thing out on the field, but he was cerebral out there. And that, to your point, that there's that too. I mean, of course, Tom Brady is the anomaly for every, in pretty much every category when you talk about quarterbacks, but we know what you meant, Sean. Aaron Rodgers is in the tent. Did he get his bell rung, or did he need a quick darkness retreat during the game? Hi, guys. Good evening, GMAC. No, I'm sorry, GMAC. We didn't quite win it. I'm sorry. Did like that Jefferson made that Bucks hit on Jefferson. Yeah, you could tell Jefferson was pissed. And I think he was pissed because he had single coverage in the end zone, and I think he was open over there. And Kirk instead threw it to KJ in double coverage, which, again, decision-making. Why throw it to Osborne, behind Osborne in double coverage, even though KJ should have caught that ball? The fact that it got intercepted isn't on – I'm going to give Osborne 75% of the blame on that, Kirk 25%, because Kirk should have got it ahead of him a little bit more. Osborne had it in his hands. He had the catch, and he got it stolen from him. You could have the entire population of a small town trying to cover JJ. He's open. Absolutely, Doc. And Kirk has even said that in his press conferences that he needs to remember that even when Jefferson is covered, he's still open. But yet when he gets in the game, he freezes up and doesn't take that chance. He'll take a chance with a lesser wide receiver. No offense to KJ Osborne, but I mean, Justin Jefferson is the best wide receiver on the freaking planet. Sprained his Ginner. Afraid we're going to lose the division. Packers look good. Lions look good. The Packers played the Bears yesterday, and the Bears are hot garbage. I'm not ready to anoint Green Bay anything. You get Jordan Love against some real talent, and he's going to struggle. I honestly don't want Green Bay to be god-awful terrible because that puts them in a position where they're going to be able to go after a Caleb Williams or a Drake May or somebody like that. I want them to be drafting like 15 to 20, somewhere in there. Bad enough to not make the playoffs, but good enough to not be in a prime position to get another quarterback if they want to. Sarah, difference between KJ and JJ. JJ takes the ball from the defender. KJ loses the ball to defender. Exactly. Sarah, if I had prizes to give away, I would give you a prize tonight because you've had multiple very, very good comments tonight. Almost like Cousins has forgotten the catch. Well, even after that one, if you remember when Kirk did his presser after that Buffalo game, he even said after the game, I probably shouldn't have thrown that ball to Jefferson. Yes, you should. If it's ever a doubt in your mind whether or not you should throw the ball to Justin Jefferson, you throw the ball to Justin Jefferson. See what the division has when we play them. Yep. I mean, it's week 1. The season's not over by any stretch of the imagination. This was a game we kind of needed because this first stretch of the first quarter of the season is tough. We got Philly. We have the Chargers the following week. We have San Francisco coming up in a few weeks. We have Kansas City, coming up like week 6, whatever it is. Only 16 trying to understand. It's only been one game. Hey, it's all good, Sean. I appreciate the comments. Appreciate you out there. There's no dumb questions. Nothing like that. That's why we're here. We're here to talk. We're here to vent. And, you bring up the questions, we'll talk them out. Hey, good evening, Steven. Do you think we have any chance against the Beagles on Thursday? We got a chance. I mean, we can beat them. Philadelphia is beatable. They almost got beat yesterday, but we're going to have to play a lot better on offense than we played yesterday. Division will be tough. It ain't over yet. Yep. I mean, you look at it. The Bengals looked terrible yesterday. They lost. Philly almost lost. Kansas City lost. San Francisco stomped on whoever it was they played, but all the people who bet on Fields not looking very good right now. I was never buying that hype to begin with, and it annoyed the crap out of me during the offseason when everybody was anointing him for that he was going to get his goddamn gold jacket and Canton bust at halftime of week 3. Rodgers being carted off. Interesting. All that hype and everything else, and he's already going out on the cart. Very interesting. Loss will wake us up. We're going on a run, minimum 2-2 after 4 games. If we can go 2-2 after the first 4, I'll be satisfied with that, especially after losing yesterday. Sarah wins prizes even when there aren't any. Yeah, I'm on a shoestring budget here. We can't afford prizes, but if I had them, I'd be giving them out because all you guys have had great comments tonight, and this is therapy, Vikings group therapy on a Monday after a very disappointing loss. But like I said, we've got a short week. We got to get this thing turned around, and we have got to be ready in a very quick hurry for the Eagles on Thursday night. Want to see KOC make some adjustments, get this offense rolling. The players are there. Absolutely, GMAC. This offense has got way too much talent. And I mean, even Hawkinson, I think he had, 7 catches, something like that, but it was like 43 yards. Half the time we're throwing it to him. He's on the yard line or getting tackled for a 3-yard loss on one of them stupid tight end screens. Patriots almost beat the Eagles. That's who it was. Yeah, I with no receivers, we got a chance. We do. Like I said, we're going to have to pull our heads out of our asses and play better on offense and not have the turnover. If we turn the ball over 3 times against Philadelphia, we got no chance. And we can't be having those stupid penalties that extend drives or kill our own drives like we have a tendency to do in what we did yesterday. That's all buy prizes and sending me so I can have giveaways. Hey, if somebody wants to send me something for a giveaway, we'll put it on the show and we'll give it away for good comments or something to that nature. I don't have the prize vault that Drew and Ted do, but hey, we'll make something work. Be so pissed with a wasted year this year. KOC better wake up. Yeah, I mean, he's got to stop trying to be cute. Yeah, I don't care if, we've run the same play 7 times, but it worked 5 of those 7 times. As long as it keeps working, keep doing it. And when you've got somebody of generational talent like Justin Jefferson, I don't care. You just keep throwing the ball to him. He will go get it more often than not. Is he going to catch them all? No. But I'll take my chances throwing it to Jefferson any day of the week. Jordan Addison was open a lot yesterday too, and Kirk either wasn't seeing him or something. I don't know there. Known to think a bit different. What happens if we win with authority? How does that change our normal narrative? I will be absolutely freaking ecstatic if we go into Philly and win convincingly. That's what this team honestly needs to do for us to be taken seriously as something more than a 7 to 10 win or 7 to 8 win team. Think KOC wants to be the next hotshot Sean McVay type, like he's trying to impress rather than win. There's something there. I don't know what it is, but sometimes you just got to take a step back and not try to be cute. Do what works. I don't care. I mean, that's what makes Shanahan so successful in San Francisco. He does what works. He's smart enough to be able to make adjustments and everything. And O'Connell's a smart man. I'm not saying that he's not. But, he's got to improve on those in-game adjustments and things like that. And when you see stuff like Kurt going back on a 5-step drop and getting hammered, start calling quick hitting plays. Go that up-tempo stuff. When we ran up-tempo, it seemed like it worked as well, and then we got away from it again. When stuff works, don't go away from it and try something. I mean, yeah, you can throw in a little bit of different stuff here and there just to keep them off balance. But if something is continuously working throughout a game, you keep doing that until they show that they can stop it on a consistent basis. And way too often they stop it. We have something that works, and then it doesn't work for a play. And then, nope, put it away. We're not going to touch that again for the rest of the game. We can't, again, just like Kirk getting in his own head, I think O'Connell gets in his own head a little bit on some of this stuff too. And it's like, that didn't work. We got to find something completely different. Let's try this. Let's try this. Let's try this. No, you guys have all got to remember what we have. We're a pass team. We're not a run team anymore. We all know that. Hopefully we can get the run going a little better. I don't have high hopes for it against Philadelphia. We have to be able to run well enough to keep them honest, but we can't just keep pounding it up the middle either on all these run plays. Get it outside, get it off tackle, do some toss sweeps, do some jet sweeps with the wide receivers, Jefferson or Addison or whoever. I don't care who, but do all that. Try something different on that kind of stuff. We keep changing past stuff when it doesn't work once or twice, but yet we keep going back to the same running crap all the time and it never works. Or those goddamn tight end screens that never work. Good evening, Justin. You missed a whole bunch of stuff there for stealing my talking points for your show later, but hey, you can catch on the last of it anyway. Thadir, good evening. Play calling is almost as cute as Quasimodo's draft skills. Of course, he wants to win, but seems like not saying what works, just would rather innovate than pour it on. Agreed. You know, style, I don't care about style points, but I do want to go out there and curb stomp some of these guys. I want to be the curb stomper, not the curb that's getting stomped, like, you know, has happened to us a few times. Don't want to see another tight end screen this year. I don't either. I'm so tired of seeing that because, again, we've harped on it a dozen times tonight. It never freaking works. Only bright partners or rookies look good. Yeah, I thought all the rookies that, other than the bonehead Jay Ward lining up in the neutral zone on that kick, I thought for the most part everybody else looked pretty good. Hey, good evening, Brian. Aaron Rodgers hurt already. Yeah, we heard was it an ankle, something like that? Somebody brought it up here a couple minutes ago. People cursing Kwesi for his draft skills when his rookie showed up yesterday. That this year's draft class, I think, is significantly better than last year's. Lewis Seen was kind of a no-show yesterday, except for that when we had to burn that timeout on, I think it was one of the field goal tries because we had 12 men on the field and he went running off late. Again, Doc, yeah, if something's working, why change? Yeah, just, I mean, there is a certain thing about going to the well one too many times, but if something is working on a consistent basis, keep doing it until they can stop it on a consistent basis. And stopping it once is not stopping it on a consistent basis. You know, mix things in, but if you've got something that works, keep doing it. It's just, I did not expect to be so frustrated by the offense yesterday. And then to have Justin Jefferson go off for 138 yards in the first half and then barely see the ball the second half. You can't do that. Need some trickery on offense. I think sometimes that's part of the problem is the trickery. He tries to get cute. Case in point, that game last year when they tried to have Dalvin Cook throw that pass down at the goal line and he ended up fumbling the damn thing. There's a point, there's a time and a place for cuteness and trickery and stuff like that, but sometimes you just got to line up, put your strongest guys on their guys, and keep hammering at them. They stick with what doesn't work. Tight end screen, for instance, yep. Brian expecting 8 and 9, not surprised by yesterday's effort. I had him pegged at 11 and 6. I mean, I knew I didn't expect him to go 13 and 4 like they did last year, just because our schedule's harder this year. And we still can go 11 and 6, 10 and 7, easy enough. We can still win the division. All is not lost because we lost the first game. Now, if we don't turn it around and, pick off a win against Philadelphia on Thursday, beat San Diego next Sunday or a week from Sunday, that's if it starts snowballing, then yeah, things can go bad and it can go bad very quickly. Issue last year, 2 things to adjust the second half. We're terrible at that. Yeah. I mean, when it got down to the fourth quarter last year, we had all those 1-score victories, the comebacks. Kirk had 10 comebacks last year, all that stuff. It's that middle section from after the first, the 15 scripted plays or whatever till midway through the third quarter when it's, oh shit, we're behind. We got to kick it in the ass and go after it here. We can still go 19 and 1. 11 and 6, very optimistic. I mean, there's no we've got, with the talent this team has got, especially on offense, there's no reason why we can't go 11 and 6. And I believe Florida, and you just small sample size last week. Now we may go out next week and Philadelphia runs up and down the field on us. But just in that one game, I like what I saw out of Flores. He's brought what I expected. There, we were aggressive. We were bringing blitzes. We were getting pressure, things like that. Where did we improve on defense? Defensive coordinator is the biggest one. We got more speed at linebacker. Ivan Pace, I think I love that kid. I think he's going to be a very, very good player for us for a long time. Like Sarah brought up earlier, Mekhi Blackman played out well yesterday. Caleb Evans played well yesterday. I was impressed with how Caleb Evans handled that. Byron Murphy played pretty well, I thought, in the back end. Josh Metellus, for the most part, played well. Cam Bynum had a couple of nice plays. Had Jamar Chase for fantasy, thought he got injured, turned out Burrow just sucked. Yeah, my fantasy team, I've got Joe Burrow and Kirk as my two quarterbacks. And luckily I had started Kirk because I was concerned about Burrow's quad injury or whatever it was he had in preseason. So I started Kirk, which turned out to be a good idea because Kirk had 23 points and Burrow had like 3, I think, or something like that. So worked out for me, but didn't work. Of course, there again, Kirk is a great fantasy quarterback, but we didn't get the win. I'm not putting this loss on Kirk. There are certain aspects I think that Kirk should have done better. So I'm not absolving him of any guilt, but I'm not laying it solely on his feet either. Tampa's always subpar at best. Yeah, I mean, it's not a great – they got good wide receivers, and Baker Mayfield, and they proved that yesterday. When we were getting pressure on Mayfield in the first half, he was largely ineffective. He couldn't do anything. Second half, when they made that adjustment, started going up tempo and getting the ball out before the pressure could get there, then he played a lot better. He outplayed Kirk in the second half. North Dakota Hell League lost because Will Lutz blows. Had a Dak on a night they scored 40 points and the D scored all the points. Yeah, would they have like 37 interceptions or something like that? Again, another great comment by Sarah tonight. This is something that is bit my ass, chapped my ass, whatever you want to call it, annoyed the shit out of me. For the 45 years or 40 whatever years I've been a fan of this team, is they always tend to play down to their competition. And as long as we keep doing that, we are not going to win a goddamn Super Bowl. And that's just the sad truth about the whole situation, is we have to get away from that. And I don't know what it doesn't matter who the coach is, who the quarterback is, who the players is. It's something we have done for 40, 50 years. Pessimistic, don't see the improvement in personnel. Losing Dalvin is going to hurt more than one might expect. I don't know that Dalvin Cook makes that much of a difference yesterday. Most of you guys are well aware of my thoughts on running backs. I am not in favor of giving any running back a big second contract. Now, should we maybe look at somebody who's got a little more explosiveness than Alex Madison? Maybe. I'm not giving up on Madison yet. Again, it's only been one game. Ty Chandler, I think, has got potential to be more of that home run hitting guy. Get him in there, get him a little more. Explain the 2001 NFC title game and the 2017 NFC title game. Again, that's the Vikings thing. They'll get your hopes up, and then they always piss down your leg at the most inopportune time. It's just, we all know what the Vikings do to us. Why we stay fans. I mean, that just proves how loyal this fan base is. Two were blowouts. Also seeing 6 games. We went to 6 before seeing a win. I've gone about 50-50, I think, in the games I've gone to. Sean, I'm back. How was the Monday Nighter going? We haven't got an update for a little while since Aaron went out with his bummed ankle or whatever it was. Went to 3. Only got to see one. Chester Taylor had a huge run against the 49ers. I remember that game, Doc. Bits and pieces of it anyway. Yeah, I don't know how many games I've been to. It's been 10, 12 maybe over my my history. Cook has 1 yard on 2 carries. Yeah, that shows you right there. Want to see the 1998 offense reincarnated with these weapons? And there's no reason why we can't see that, Sarah. I mean, Justin Jefferson is, I'm going out and I'm saying this right now. Justin Jefferson is every bit as good as Chris Carter and Randy Moss were. And he's still getting, by the time everything's said and done, he's going to be better than either of those guys. I fully believe that. Jordan Addison, that kid's got potential. I think he's going to be very good. You know, KJ Osborne has had some very good games. Now, yesterday it was not one of his best games by any stretch of the imagination. You know, there's a couple of times he had passes that he should have caught and didn't. He had the interception, of course. The ball stole away from him, but you know, yeah, there's no reason. TJ Hawkinson is, you know, very good pass catching tight end. As we saw yesterday, Josh Oliver, I had a good feeling about him too, and he showed out some very good catches he made yesterday. So, I mean, we've got more than enough weapons for this offense to be lethal. We just have to put it all together and keep it together for an entire game. What we did with Carter and Moss, not an easy. I mean, again, Brian, this is the history of the Vikings. Look back to the 70s. We had the Purple People Eaters. We went to the Super Bowl, but we couldn't get it done. You know, we went to the Super Bowl 4 times in 6 years or whatever it was. Been to the NFC Championship game how many damn times? It's just we cannot put it all together when it matters the most. Chokeslam a midget to have Prime McDaniel. You put Randall McDaniel on this offensive line, it gets 100 times better. Or Steve Hutchinson. We need some nasty up there, and we need somebody who can pass block. Dalton Reisner's that guy. He's not a Hutchinson or Randall McDaniel type, but he's got an attitude, and he's a better pass blocker than he is a run blocker. Both Ingram and Cleveland are run blockers. They're not pass blockers. Now, at least Ezra Cleveland is not stepping on Kirk's foot or swiping the ball out of his hands, but top speed reached on Jordan Addison's touchdown, 140 miles an hour. Last bowl was 77. Very well aware. I was 2 years old at the time. I don't remember seeing the game, of course, but I've been following this team religiously since about 1980, so well aware. Why can't we find some late rounders start at O-line? We keep trying to do late rounders. How about we get some good early round guys? But, you know, they go with this guards don't matter type mentality. Guards matter, and our guards prove it week in and week out that guards matter. Because our guards suck, and it matters because, especially, I mean, if you had a mobile quarterback like a Jalen Hurts or a Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, you know, any of these guys, that Justin Fields even, that can get around and run and move the pocket and get away from pressure, then those offensive linemen we have are probably sufficient. But when you've got a guy who doesn't like to run and is not overly mobile, like Kirk, who just stands there in the pocket, you're going to have problems if you cannot keep the pocket clean. I wasn't alive during the Super Bowl appearances. The 98 championship was the worst pain I've been through with this team. 98 and 09 are probably the worst for me. Now, I'm back. I remember 1987, the championship game against Washington, where Darren Nelson drops that touchdown at the goal line. a few other times in there. Some of those teams, we had teams that had great defenses. We didn't have weapons, or we had good offenses and not so much defense. It just seems like we can't get Darisaw banged up. Darisaw came back in and played most of the game, so I think he's fine. He just tweaked his ankle a little bit. Bradbury, that one concerns me. We talked about that earlier tonight. Back injuries typically don't get better, especially a lower back when you're playing center. So that concerns me. I'm not completely opposed to having to go out and start looking to waiver wire or, something to find another option at center. And I think we're going to have to take a look at a center next year in the draft too, just because I don't think Bradbury's going to end up like John Sullivan. John Sullivan, he was a good center up until he had that back injury, and he was never the same after that. Bradbury has a little bit of an uphill battle because he continuously got forklifted into the second row of the seats, then has one good year, then hurts his back. 2 first-rounders and 3 second-rounders starting on the O-line. That's a good point, Dave. The problem is we have to get the right guys. Now, we hit on our tackles. Darisaw is he's probably a top 5 left tackle in the league, or arguably anyway, close to it. O'Neal is a top 10 right tackle. Bradbury was an epic miss at center. Ed Ingram is looking to be an epic miss at guard. Cleveland is serviceable. Is Elfline still available? Actually, I believe he is out there on the free agent market. How old are you? I'm 51, older than you. I'm 48, so you got me by a couple of years, GMAC, but it's old enough to, as you can see, the Vikings are starting to give me gray hair, so I got an Adrian Peterson jersey to wear. The collection have Jefferson Peterson, just Nita Moss, and Culpepper. May I suggest eBay? I have found a ton of the ones that I have on there. I've got a bunch of the old school ones. I did order a TJ Hawkinson of the throwback jersey from yesterday, so I'm waiting for that to show up. Hopefully be here sometime this week, but bet you all had some good snacky. 98 was worse for me too. Yeah. But anyway, guys, we've been going for damn near an hour here, and I know Brother Justin's got a show coming up here in just a few minutes, so I know a lot of you guys are going to want to hop over there and watch him, so make sure you go over to Purple and Gold for Days, watch his show here at 8 p.m. Again, make sure you take a watch to everybody else on here. Again, Vikings First and Skol, Vikings Report with Drew and Ted, GG Sports, JJ Vikes, Purple Pocket, all those guys. Minnesota Sports Talk, Under the Lights with Justin and Dave tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Again, with us, Brunswick's Best will be on Wednesday. And Friday night, we're going to have a live show. Since the Vikings are playing on Thursday, Lance and I will be doing a live wrap-up on Friday. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. Come on in. It's gonna, we're going to do kind of like we're doing here. We'll make an event line, whether we're either celebrating a victory over the Eagles or we're having more stuff to complain about, get off our chest. The Viking therapy session may be up and about. There'll be lots to talk about after we get bombed on Thursday, one way or the other. Since Ingram is more dominant on the left side, why don't they move him over to left guard? At this point in time, I'm ready to try anything with Ingram. Mondays suck, but always cheer me up. Hey, Doc, I do what I can. Glad you guys have been here. Thadir, it was really a tackle. Ingram wasn't even supposed to be a second rounder, and Bradbury 50-50. One is McCoy or Elgin Jenkins. I'd have taken either one of those guys over the guys that we've got. 3-3 game. Great show. Thanks, guys, everybody. Again, my worthless opinion. Justin, Sean, Raymond, Sarah, thank you for all the great comments tonight. You need to come on here more often. We enjoyed having you in the comments tonight. A lot of great stuff. Reggie, Brian, all you guys, My Worthless Opinion, anybody else I forgot to mention up there, Doc. Again, the Filipino fan club over in the Philippines watching us, Nanoy, Jen, Bibi, Wilma, Misty, all you guys over there halfway around the world watch the show every weekend. Thank you guys again. If you've not done so, again, make sure you hit the like, hit the subscribe, go out and hit the subscribe button to all of our other content creator buddies out there that are working out to heart, put content out for you guys. We love doing this stuff. And, we're all one big community here. We just love talking Vikings and getting on shows like this and talking with you guys. Again, whether it's venting over a bad loss like we had yesterday, celebrating a great win, we're here. We're going to do that all season long. And make sure, again, you tune in Wednesday and Friday. Tune into everybody else's shows coming up this week. Thursday night, let's go to Philadelphia and get a goddamn win and shut those Eagles up a little bit. And then we'll have something good to talk about on Friday. So, but with that, let's call her a night. Make sure you go over and check out Justin's show here in a couple of minutes. And with that, skol, everybody, and we'll see you on Friday. Maybe. There we go.